Good morning, everybody. My name is Eric. I'm here to talk to you about bad news today. So we're going to talk about ransomware. So you have a very exciting agenda for the rest of the day, right? You're going to be talking about digitalization, financial sector, the use of AI, Fintech. And as you go down that journey, you're going to be realizing that your business is going to be becoming more and more dependent on the use, processing, and leveraging of data. Well, the bad news is, that's me. The bad news is the attackers out there know that too. They know that you need data to survive, right? And I would like everyone to kind of just listen through the next 20 minutes. Keep in mind that when you use that data, you have to think about the protection and the security of that data, all right? So show of hands quickly in this room, who here is directly responsible for the protection and security of data in your organization? Hands up, please. Few gentlemen here, okay? Thank you so much. The reality is everybody here is, right? We have to have the mindset that data security and protection is everyone's responsibility, not just IT, not just security. So I'm going to challenge some of the mindset, some of the thinking that you have with new findings that we have from industry. So we're going to dive right into that, okay? So first and foremost, Arrosoft, we're a US company, and our bread and butter is data protection and security. We have helped some of the largest banks, insurance companies, investment houses in the US and abroad basically secure, protect their data. And more recently, we have realized that the focus is now no longer only on data protection, but really on ransomware resiliency. When you get hit by a cyber event, and trust me, at some point you will get hit by a cyber event, how do you survive that event, right? How do you ensure that the practices, the processes, the people in your organization know what to do when something hits? It's not about panicking, right? So today, we look at the entire life cycle of data, where it sits, where it's being processed, how are you protecting it, what is the disaster recovery, and also what is the cybersecurity. And we work with all of these brands in the market. We carry some of the largest brands. Now, today we call ourselves vendor agnostic because we're really not about selling a solution, but really to look at your environment and propose the best way for you to secure and protect your data that suits your organization, okay? Two key differentiators of how we work with our customers and partners. First and foremost, everything we do is as a service. We do not require our customers and partners to buy anything. We deliver everything as a service. And everything that we do can be fully managed. So the same people, the same skill sets, the same knowledge that we have protecting the largest Fortune 500s in the world, today we bring down to all of our Philippine customers as well. We do that in partnership with our local partner, SANS. We have a booth outside on the left-hand side of the door, so if you have any interest in any of the solutions in detail, come talk to us at the booth after this. So first round of bad news, right? What is the state of ransomware today? I'm not going to state the obvious. It's going up. It's going up all the time. Every year is a record year, so just get ready for that. Okay, more and more people are getting hit. But in the last 12 months, there have been some major changes and trends. First and foremost, today, 90% of ransomware attacks exfiltrate data. They are taking your data out. It's not only about encrypting, but they're stealing it. I'll show you what they do with it, okay? Secondly, the average ransom payment has gotten so high now that it actually makes sense to try to prevent it. In the past, it's like, one Bitcoin, $20,000 US, I'll pay it, no harm, no foul, like it never happened. But today, that's no longer true. The average payout is nearly $800,000 US today. You can do a lot with $800,000 US. And the scary thing is this, right? We're actually at this moment in process of helping a customer somewhere in ASEAN, not in the Philippines, do a ransomware recovery. When they got hit, they immediately reached out to the attacker saying, hey, I want to pay the ransom, I want to get my data back. 5 days, no response from the attackers. Can your business wait 5 days with no access to your data while the attackers decide how long they want to keep you waiting and make you desperate? So the other reality that we challenge is that it is much, much quicker these days to actually do a recovery on your own than to actually pay the ransom. Okay, so think about that when you start to plan your ransomware recovery processes. Second major mindset change that you need to have is that it doesn't only hit small companies. These are a list of the well-known brands that were hit in 2022 alone. This is only 10% of the full list. I cherry-picked these brands because we know that they're recognizable. Now, these are companies that spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of US dollars on cybersecurity. They are in all sectors, right? And they get hit. So if companies with nearly unlimited budgets on security get hit, if you are not spending that kind of money, all I got to say is just get ready, right? So we really need to change the way that we think about ransomware today. When I say the word ransomware or hackers, many people still have the image of dorm room, dark, college kid with a hoodie, looking for something to do on the weekend, looking for a random unsecured company and they go attack the company. The reality is not. Today, you are all being targeted. Ransomware is an industry worth trillions of dollars, maybe larger than some of the industries that we're in here today. So these are professionals that are hitting you. They know exactly what they're doing. They have a wide support from the underworld, the dark web, right? The organized crime, cybercrime factions. The same way that we do ransomware protection as a service, backup as a service, they have ransom as a service. The same way that we use AI to protect our assets, they have AI looking for new ways to attack you. So you are working against real smart people, and we need to change the way that we think about them as a threat. Because if we don't respect them, we will never give them the seriousness that they actually deserve. And last but not least, you have to change the way about how you think about being hit by ransomware, because the ransom is not the biggest damage. Damage to reputation, damage to downtime, right? Your business impacted. And after you get hit, even after you recover, the first thing is, oh, now I have to spend the money to secure it. Why not do that up front, right? And avoid that incident in the first place. So with all that in mind, we do propose a few strategies to help our customers avoid being hit by ransomware, okay? These are all things that we learned through the years, helping our customers defend and recover from ransomware. The first thing is something quite new. It's called a zero security posture. Whatever security that you think you have today, you have to seriously ask yourself the question, what happens if that solution, that security fails? What's my plan B? Do I have a plan B? Many customers today find it very difficult to ask because it implies that if you're a CISO or your IT or your CIO, that what you have put in place actually may not be good enough. And that's the reality. We have to face up to that fact. Secondly, we have to be active. We have to proactively put in place these solutions, make those processes and plans so that when the ransomware does hit, we can survive. Thirdly, we have to think about a multi-layer approach. Today, one size does not fit all anymore. We really need to have multi-layer approach to security, different brands of solutions, different kinds of solutions that address different threats. And fourth, and probably the most important, is you have to create a playbook. The playbook meaning what happens when an attack comes, who gets called in, what processes need to be put in place, what needs to be done. All of that can be predefined beforehand so that when the attack comes, you know exactly what to do, okay? And also the realization that it's actually an arms race. You're not gonna solve this problem in the near future, if ever. It's a constant race against the cybercrime world on how to protect yourselves. So with these in mind, we do have some strategies that we will propose to you in the coming slides, okay? So first and foremost, based on our experience helping our customers and the solutions that we carry, we created something that we call the 360 defense strategy. It's basically a strategy that is based on zero security posture, based on a multi-layer approach to try to protect you and help you avoid getting hit by ransomware attacks. So I want to share first with you a story of the MGM cyber attack in September. How many of you are aware of this? Okay, so all of you know this happened. So MGM, one of the world's largest hotel and casinos, right, We know gaming is one of the most highly secure industries in the world, and they got hit in September. So in September, they made an announcement that, MGM, we have received a ransomware, a demand. Our hotel systems are completely shut off. They can't check in, guests can't check out, casino machines completely down, no gaming going on, right? When you see that first announcement, that's not when the attack happens. The attack actually happened months or weeks ago. So a few weeks ago, the attackers using social engineering pretended to be an MGM staff. They knew enough about the staff to call MGM help desk to get themselves access into the MGM system. So when they logged in, it was with a proper password, okay? Now, many people think that the attack is the end of it, but today it's no longer true. There are now multi-layers to a ransomware attack, so you have to be prepared for all the layers, because the moment you get hit by the ransomware message, that's just step number one. Today, there's this thing called double extortion, where they steal your data and they sell that data to other attacker groups so that they can use it against you in the future, right? Or they use it to inform you that I have your data now, you want to get it back, you have to pay the ransom. MGM chose not to pay the ransom, even at the double extortion stage. To date, they have not paid the ransom, they did a recovery. But that it also doesn't end at double extortion. There's also triple extortion. Basically, they will say things about MGM, your security is lousy, you didn't do this, you didn't react that way, to embarrass the company into paying the ransom. So all of this today complicates the way that we work with ransomware cases, and it will complicate how you are going to recover from an event. So with all of this, the best idea is to try to avoid, right? So based on zero security, we recommend 3 different approaches. You still need to prevent, that's layer 1. But as per zero security, what happens if layer 1 fails? What do? You have to have an independent layer to detect, right, when the event happens. But if even that detects too late, encryption has happened, your data is already locked, we need to have a layer 3, the recover, which is the insurance policy, a last known good clean copy of your data that you can instantly recover from. Okay, so let's look at how this plays out in a typical ransomware attack. Now, in a ransomware attack, the attackers will obviously try to find their way into your network. Typically, it's not by brute force, it's through social engineering. So, for example, for me, I like cars. They may send me an email saying, drive your dream car for a month, you take a free Ferrari, right? Just download this app and register, and when you download the app, the malware is already in your network. So the first step is that, and then the malware, once it comes in, will not try to encrypt you, but it will actually communicate back to the attackers through their C2 to ask for instructions and to send your data out. Only when the data has already been stolen, they will encrypt you. So if we know this is how they work, we designed Arrosoft 360-degree defense to disrupt this attack pattern. First and foremost, prevention stops the attack from happening, we hope. But if it doesn't stop it and the attack is ongoing, we will detect when there's communication from your network going back to your attacker command and control. So data exfiltration, a ping back to C2, we will catch those. If even that happens too late, we will still provide the insurance policy where you can recover the data from, okay? So with this, I'll go into a little bit of detail about each of these solutions, not too much, but there are some of these new generation capabilities that you need to start thinking of for each of these layers of protection. So in terms of prevent, we use a solution called SentinelOne. SentinelOne is basically a single agent that does all layers of protection for identity, for endpoint, and for cloud. But the feature that we really like about SentinelOne is the ability to do rollback. So imagine this, right? You download the malware, you accidentally click on the malware goes through the process of attacking you. In that process, it will create a lot of different tasks and events in your system, right? SentinelOne will actually create a timeline of all of those child tasks, and it will scan those tasks, and if it finds that one of the tasks looks suspicious, it will block it. But here's where the magic happens, right? SentinelOne now becomes a time machine where you can roll back. You can rewind the attack to before when the attack happened, so that you can clean the system and kind of make it all go away. So we really like this feature. We find that many customers in the ASEAN region especially are still using traditional or legacy antivirus. You're scanning files, you're looking for signatures. If you're still doing that, consider this capability. This is something very exciting, the ability to do a rewind, okay? And SentinelOne also uses AI to scan for 0 days. So many traditional AVs do not catch 0-day malwares. SentinelOne does. Now, if SentinelOne doesn't catch the attack on time, there has to be a second way, and for that we use Arctic Security. Arctic Security is a really cool solution. It basically acts as your security guard walking around your public network perimeter. So everything that you're exposing to public internet, your websites, your application APIs, right? Your databases that need to be accessed by application or partners, Arctic Security will constantly monitor those assets, looking for known vulnerabilities, and these vulnerabilities are normally the attack points the attackers will use to come into your network. They will secure those vulnerabilities, right, and alert you that such vulnerabilities are happening so that you can go and secure them. So this is something that you can expect to see if you're on Arctic Security. This is a sample report. I've blacked it out because it's actually a customer from Malaysia. I can't reveal their name. But if you dig down into some of the details, you will see that Arctic Security will actually tell you exactly which IP address in your organization has what kind of vulnerability. In this example, we have all of these. The first 5 are actually Active Directory exposed to public internet. It should not be, right? But for some reason it was. Arctic Security will warn you. And the bottom 2 was actually 2 IP addresses already had malware running in their environment. Customer was not aware, but we caught that malware communicating back out to a botnet network. So if you're keen, any of you, we can offer you a free report like this just for you to audit your environment, okay? Last but not least, we want to talk about the recovery portion. So today, recovery is the fastest, cheapest, easiest way to survive a ransomware attack. And for that, we recommend using our partner solution, Acronis. Acronis, because they actually scan the data going into the backup and also scan the data coming out before it's restored. So you will not restore a malware back into your clean environment. And then we also create, and it protects a lot of different environments as well, and different platforms. And we also want to help you now do the best practice in terms of data protection, which is a 3211 backup. So 3211 backup says you need to have 3 copies of data, 2 copies of which are on different media, 1 copy is immutable, and 1 copy is offline or air-gapped. As you go to cloud today, you're going to find it much, much more difficult to create this offline copy. And that's where the Arrosoft solution, air-gap, comes into play. So today, if you're backing up data, you have your backup in your primary copy. Your primary copy is synchronizing to your second copy through a push mechanism. The problem with traditional backup is that if you have compromised data, it's going to get backed up into your primary copy, which is going to get compromised. It's going to be pushed into your second copy, which is also now compromised. With Arrosoft air-gap, we put a traffic police in between. We secure that communication between the 2 sites. We turn the second site into a vault, okay? Now, this vault will only take clean data across, and to ensure that the data is clean, we will implant sensors that will check for signs of attack. And if we notice that an attack is going on, we will lock the vault and prevent any data going in or coming out, and we will lock it under our own security and credentials. So in that way, we always ensure that you have a good, clean copy of data that you can safely recover from, okay? So with all of that, solutions is only as good as the processes that you put in place on how to recover. With that, we are advocating to all of our customers and partners around the world that you need to create a ransomware recovery plan, a playbook. The same way that we do disaster recovery, and we have a playbook and we rehearse that DR playbook, we should do the same for ransomware recovery today. That's where we can come in to help you build this playbook, practice the playbook, rehearse that with you, define your processes, your people, your applications, your tools that you will use for the recovery, okay? So this is the breadth of our offerings today that we are working together with SANS in Philippines on. So we have backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, air-gap ransomware protection as a service, and also ransomware recovery services if you ever do get hit. Everything that we do is pay-per-use. You don't have to buy any equipment. Our pay-per-use platform is actually built on Zadara. So Zadara is actually an on-premise cloud. We build this cloud into your own data centers. And the power of Zadara is that it is fully private. So not only is the infrastructure sitting in your own data center, right? The way that Zadara secures its storage is with a share nothing architecture, where every application has got its own dedicated disk, dedicated storage, no sharing, no leaking of data across the platforms. So with that, I know I've gone through a lot of information. I hope I gave you some new thinking in terms of how you should consider securing yourselves against ransomware. The Arrosoft and SANS booth is right outside the door here on the left-hand side. We hope to see you pop by, and if you have any questions about the content or the solutions, we're happy to answer all your questions. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.